And thanks for joining us live on TV3 here at the Executive Theatre. I am Wendy Lyon. This afternoon, we're going to have an important discussion which relates to children. Usually when topics about children come up, especially even in relation to child marriages, people really feel far from it. There are a lot of statistics that we hear in relation to children protection, their rights, and matters related to them. And we have some statistics which we think that really these can't be possible. Let's look at child caregivers. Statistics indicate that about 4 out of 10 adults believe that child marriage is acceptable. Now, this thinking is a reason why 15 million girls are married annually before the age of 18. So it means that by December 2019, we know that 15 million girls will be married. Now, for World Vision and Media General, this is paramount. That is why over the years, these two bodies, which is Media General and World Vision, have partnered to bring issues of children to the fore, and child protection to these two organizations are very relevant and important because, truth be told, children are the future of this country. So it is for this reason, plus many more, that's why we're gathered here at the TV3 Executive Theatre to talk about issues related to children, their rights and their protection as well. So you're welcome. So, but before we start, I will call on Abraham Asari, and he's the acting general manager, news at Media General. Shall we welcome him?
Thank you very much, Wendy, and good afternoon to you all. I expected a response, actually. So good afternoon. Thank you. So it's my pleasure once again to welcome you this afternoon on behalf of our group CEO to Media General and to this very august event. This afternoon's gathering is to create a platform to share ideas on the theme fulfilling our promise to the Ghanaian child. And we believe that it will contribute immensely to fulfilling that promise to provide the needed environment for the Ghanaian child's education, health, and shelter. We at Media General have been doing our bit to draw the attention of the nation to the challenges that children go through in this country. And permit me to share a few of the stories we have done in recent times which have restored smiles to the faces of some children. Now, less than 2 months ago, there was 10-year-old Charlene Tugbani in the Upper West region, and she lived with multiple disabilities. She was discovered by our regional correspondent, Yakubu Gafaro. Beautiful Charlene, without an anal opening, obviously needed quality health care and support to live in dignity. And desirous to get support for Charlene, Gafaro's story was heard, and the Kapuri Children's Resource Foundation, an NGO, agreed to take care of her upkeep and medical treatment. As we speak, Charlene is being prepared for surgery at the Komfanochi Teaching Hospital in Kumasi. In April this year, Hakim Irimiao, a 14-year-old boy, was picked on the streets at the Opebia stretch of the Accra-Legon Highway. Intelligent Hakim had earlier won an essay competition, and as part of his award, he was taken to China. But life's challenges, aggravated by lack of support systems, took Hakim back to the streets. And that was his condition when he was uncovered and had his story told on News 360 on TV3 and some of other platforms. The story of Hakim, as told by Alfred Okansi, brought him the dignity and the life that every Ghanaian child of his age deserves. He was adopted by Stanbic Bank, granted full scholarship up to the university level, and is currently doing very well at SOS International School. Now, Portia Gabo highlighted the story of Matilda Gbenyega, who had a condition known as cerebral palsy. She faced challenges while writing the BEC because there was no software available to enable her write the paper since she could not use her hands effectively. With perseverance, she managed to pass her papers, but was at home because she couldn't get placement to senior high school. TV3 had to intervene and follow up at the computerized school selection and placement system until she got admission at the West Africa Senior High School. Media General also has the 3 Foundation, which has helped to get funding for surgeries to be performed on children with heart conditions at the Cardiothoracic Center at the Korle Bu Teaching Hospital. The welfare of the child is of great concern to us at Media General. This partnership with World Vision therefore comes as a contribution to our quest to ensure that no child is left behind. By joining resources and working together, many more boys and girls with stories such as Hakeem, Charling, and Matilda will get the second chance to achieve their God-given ambitions. We believe that this gathering will present yet another opportunity to do just that. Thank you very much for coming, and I believe that our discussions today will help us achieve that very important aim. God bless you, and you are welcome.
Thank you very much, Abraham Asare, and he's the Acting General Manager News here at Media General. So he set the tone, he's welcomed us home. Now let's start with a documentary, and it's on child protection. That's the reason why we're here today, and it's titled Girls of Abuse.
Papa na ko ware mi mami oko pen no na me uncle fo no omo si ntino fa ni sister ba ko mbransa no mba fa mi mami no no so ni sister ntebe se o wu nkwala oba na ne ba na yo oba no omba be fa no so no mako ware no na papa juso.
This is how Esther's ordeal began. Her father was anxious to give her out for marriage at a tender age of 13 in accordance with custom. Esther's family belongs to the Kokomba tribe, and tradition requires a man to exchange his sister for the potential wife he wants to marry. In a situation where the man has no sister to offer, his daughter becomes an obvious choice. This is the predicament Esther finds herself. She fled home after 3 attempts to capture and marry her off to her 25-year-old uncle at age 13. Eventually, she was disowned by her father, while the mother could not do enough to protest her husband's decision. The poor vulnerable girl, who is now 15, relocated from her parents' community to Nkwanta and enrolled herself in school. Since then, she has been laboring to fend for herself.
Once my son go school, to me share me so. Nti afere papa aja, ma me kwa na ebe yede, obama 5 cedi. Ebe 3 cedi obama me. Na wayem kunkunta mam, na waya buru amam. Na me sama pe nkuruma.
Esther says she could no longer bear the ordeal.
Me kaya na ya me ya. Na me akwala kutu ase me kase wesi me so say na be.
She is currently living with her 17-year-old namesake in a rented apartment they acquired with proceeds from their egg business. Both are going through difficult times. After school, the 2 teenagers sell eggs bought on credit so they could earn a living the next day.
When you went and sell things, when you are back, how you will be tired, you can't learn. So when you will be learning, then you will be feeling sleeping. So if you do not sell to, you can't get money to buy what is your needs and your wants.
During menstruation, they borrow sanitary pads from vendors to make themselves comfortable and pay with profits from their egg business. Their teachers are worried about the abuse of teenage girls in the area. School authorities have formed Girls Club to empower them to demand their rights in society.
If you are in certain situation whereby your mother is forcing you to be in marriage at this time of your age, you have to tell your mother no. If your mother is not understanding you, then you have to get some elderly person from your community or society where they can talk to your parents.
When our girls are well informed through the club, nobody will sit somewhere to deceive these girls that come for probably 1 cedi so that you do this, and by the close of the day, the girl will end up falling in hands of that irresponsible male adult by impregnating or forcing that girl into marriage.
The landlord has prioritized the security of the girls.
Me sure say me ye obi ya me dey so be ya ama me kunu so na ne ya hye dan bi so mo ma beduru aha no odi nsem pia to o anim say on pe say o kina obi mbaba ha o kina we say mabusiafo on pe.
World Vision Ghana, as part of its core mandate, has been lending support to the girls. Nkwanta Cluster Manager Salome Yeboah is confident of changing their fortunes.
We've been organizing end child marriage in our campaigns in the communities. And we've tried to bring on board the traditional leaders who actually take greater decisions when it comes to some of these things. And we believe that these traditional leaders will be able to help us to be able to break that culture so that at least the girls will be freed.
Child marriage and its attendant consequences have negatively impacted lives of most teenage girls in the Nkwanta South municipality. The development has prompted the Municipal Social Welfare Department to intensify work.
Illiteracy is one of the contributing factors to the high incidence of child marriage we are seeing. It used to be a big issue, but it's coming down because of the kind of work we are doing.
Municipal Chief Executive John Tasson is confident the phenomenon will be curbed.
Those who are early married, some have stopped, and they are giving their children to their mothers, and they're in school.
The future of the two friends is hinged on their education, which they are battling with. Addressing issues of child marriage in the country would require the intensification of existing policies, programs, and stakeholders' commitment.
Indeed, a lot more needs to be done, and to address issues like we just watched, we need some form of commitment, and that's why we're here today. That's the Media General and World Vision Forum on Child Protection. Now, I would also like to acknowledge some persons who are doing or contributing greatly to child protection here in our country, Ghana. And I will call on Awo Adiama. She is with Child Online Africa. She's Executive Director. Hello, Awo. I know you're here. Hi. And then also we have Berima Akwesi Amankwa. Berima Akwesi Amankwa is with the Ghana NGO Coalition on the Rights of the Child, and he's the coordinator. Hello. All right, then. And then we also have some greats among us, and these men have contributed their quota. They've worked with World Vision for a number of years. We have Dr. Joe Brew Riverson. He was a National Director, World Vision Ghana from January 1990 and 1996. Welcome, sir. And then we also have Mr. Samuel Asari, who was a National Director from January 2003 to December 2008. You're welcome. So still in relation to World Vision, because we just saw some of their former national directors, I will call on Dickens Tunde. He is the National Director, World Vision Ghana, for a statement. Shall we welcome him?
Good afternoon. Distinguished panelists, distinguished guests, media representatives, children, and viewers, I bring you greetings from the partnership of World Vision, and particularly from World Vision Ghana, where we are celebrating 40 years anniversary this year. It is with much joy and gratitude that I make this statement to kickstart today's forum on child protection. This forum, a World Vision and Media General partnership, forms part of the event scheduled to mark World Vision's 40th anniversary. You may wish to know that just last weekend, on Saturday, to be specific, World Vision Ghana, in partnership with other like-minded organizations and the youth in the area, did a massive cleanup exercise at the Yam Market in Abobloshi, here in Accra. Our grand anniversary celebration event will take place on Thursday, 28th of November this year at Ghana College of Physicians and Surgeons, Ridge, Accra, from 9:30 in the morning. You are all invited. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as you may all be aware, World Vision is a Christian relief development and advocacy organization dedicated to working with children, families, communities to overcome poverty and injustice. For the past 40 years, World Vision Ghana has been working with very deprived communities to co-create solutions for development challenges in the areas of water, sanitation and hygiene, food security, health, education, and child protection. These interventions have brought measurable improvements in the well-being of millions of children, especially the most vulnerable, their families and communities. The theme for today's forum, World Vision Ghana at 40, celebrating our promise to the Ghanaian child, underscores the place of the well-being of children in our hearts. It is also assuring to us that a lot has been achieved in the last 40 years, and yet there is still much more that needs to be done. Thus, today's forum is meant to help deepen national discourse on child protection and rejuvenate our collective resolve to do more than we had ever done for the well-being of children. For nearly 70 years, World Vision has been committed to protecting and caring for children and those in need. From our founder, Bob Pierce, giving the last $5 in his pocket to help care for an abandoned Chinese girl in 1947, the then CEO Stan Mooneyham purchasing a large ship in 1979 to rescue the families stranded at sea in Vietnam, World Vision has gone where others would not. Even in the places where it's hardest to be a child, God is there. And we should be there too. So our mission continues. Bob Pierce founded World Vision 3 years after he came face to face with an abandoned child and chose not to look away. Determined, the last $5 in his pocket wasn't enough. He knew more people had to be involved for a long-term solution to broader impact. Initially, based in the state of Oregon, in the United States, the organization founded on its mission service to emergencies in East Africa, in East Asia. Today, World Vision has become the largest Christian international non-governmental organization working in nearly 100 countries worldwide. 32 years after World Vision was founded, the seed of Bob Pierce's vision was sown here in Ghana. World Vision International started working in Ghana in 1975 in response to economic and social challenges in some parts of the country. Since then, World Vision has remained dedicated to working with most vulnerable children, families, and communities to overcome poverty, injustice, and inspired by the Christian values of what makes World Vision World Vision. We have collaborated with government, agencies, local governments, churches, international and local NGOs, children and communities, and media to ensure that we bring the well-being of these most vulnerable children in our country. Distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen, as if by design, The event marking CRC at 30 unfolds from tomorrow, Thursday, November 20. The Universal Children's Day provides an opportunity for sober reflection on how to improve child welfare, promote and celebrate children's rights, and promote togetherness and awareness among all children. Distinguished guests, media representatives, children, it has taken the world 30 years to reach this far after the development of the Convention on the Rights of the Child by the United Nations. World Vision Ghana is proud to be associated with this anniversary. World Vision Ghana has a long-standing relationship with the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection on the promotion of rights and welfare of children in this country, and would want to assure all that World Vision Ghana will continue to work with all relevant agencies to make Ghana a safe country for children to thrive and develop and live their childhood dreams. As we celebrate, we wish to congratulate His Excellency the President and the people of Ghana for being the first country to ratify the UNCRC and followed up with pragmatic steps to set up the legal framework and institutions to run the children's machinery in Ghana. Distinguished guests, media representatives, children, World Vision looks forward to a world where every child experiences Jesus' promise of life in all its fullness, where children are protected, cared for, and given the opportunities to become what God meant them to be, where they grow strong in communities, free and of need and full of promise, where families are valued, creation preserved, and the most vulnerable live in security and in confidence. A world where they become responsible citizens of well-led nations, where peace and justice reign, all have the right to contribute to their well-being, where they flourish in a world where the treasure of our hearts and the measure of our worth is in the happiness and the well-being of all children. In such a world, we all taste the joy of the kingdom of heaven. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as I conclude, it is World Vision's expectation that we would leave this forum with renewed energy and resolve to take the issues of child well-being to be a much higher pedestal, to make Ghana in particular and the world at large a safer place for children, especially the most vulnerable children in the next 40 years. I thank you all for your attention. God bless you.
Thank you, Mr. Tunde. Shall we give him a round of applause again? And one of the most important things he did mention is that it's taking the world 30 years to get to this point. It means that we still have a lot more work to do as a country and the world as a whole to deal with issues related to child protection. But we're here in Ghana, so we need to know what exactly is happening here in our country. What are we doing in relation to child protection? And what exactly is government also doing? And what role is government playing? So to do that for us and tell us a lot more about this is Florence Quartey. She is the acting director, Department of Children. But before she comes as well, I'm sure you would be wondering what these three individuals are doing here. Okay, so let me do you the favor of telling you what exactly they're doing. We're going to have a panel discussion shortly on our theme, which is child protection here in our country. And on my far left, she will be speaking to us shortly, but she's Florence Quartey, the Acting Director, Department of Children. Shall we clap for her? And I appreciate you for coming here today. And then the young lady there, who I'm so proud of, is Abigail Ede. She is a World Vision Young Ambassador, and she's done some research in a lot of work on teenage pregnancy, right? In the Ga West municipality. She did that with some other friends of hers who are also young ambassadors like herself. So let's give her a rousing round of applause. So it takes a lot of courage to be an ambassador. I'm sure your work is quite doing it. Okay. And then the last person there is Gregory Derry. He is the Child Protection and Advocacy Manager for World Vision. You're welcome, sir. So we'd call on Florence Quarte, the Acting Director, Department of Children, to give us a presentation on the state of child protection here in our country.
Thank you very much, and good afternoon to you all. It's a pleasure to be here. And I bring you greetings from the Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, and also from our children who have gathered and are practicing at the International Conference Center for the launch of the National Children's Parliament. I had to take permission from them to be here because we are all there training. And we are happy to be part of this celebration as we mark 40 years of World Vision, as well as 30 years of the CRC, Convention of the Rights of the Child. What the address forgot to say is that government machinery for child rights also is 40 years this year. So we are celebrating a lot together with World Vision, as well as the Children for Ghana. One of the key things as a country that you are required to do when you ratify a convention is to ensure that this convention is domesticated. Because if it's not domesticated, there's nothing you can do as a country, because it's an international standard and it doesn't apply to you. And for us as a country, the ratification of the Convention on the Rights of the Child was a key thing that we needed to do at that time. We were just ready. It wasn't because we just wanted to be first. Because for the past 10 years before the convention was ratified, there was a system in place in the country. There was then the National Commission on Children that was already doing work in promoting children's rights and to ensure how it's mainstream into the work of other ministries and departments and agencies. So therefore, the ratification of the convention was just seen as the extension of the work of the Commission on Children. And we must also give credit to then Chairman Rawlings for his bold initiative and instituting this kind of arrangement for the country. Since then, 1990, and you look at the 92, we did a new constitution. So it was just right. So when you look at our constitution, there is a provision for children's rights and their protection within the constitution. And the constitution mandates that we continue to do new laws and new policies. So from then we look at reviewing our laws and acts to ensure that they are in line with the Convention on the Rights of the Child. We have our Children's Act, we have our Juvenile Justice Act. We have so many laws in place to ensure that we do this. And within the convention, one of the key things is that states must put in place institutions, further institutions, strengthen institutions to implement. So from the time from 1992, you could see that there have been new institutions. Some have been strengthened, some have their mandate expanded. So we're looking at, for example, we have a Ministry of Women and Children's Affairs that was established, mandate expanded to Ministry of Gender, Children and Social Protection, all in line with ensuring that the services that we provide for children are consistent with international standards, and also to ensure that the children get the maximum of support when they need services. We have institutions such as the Girl Child Education Unit. We have institutions such as DOFSU, that was also, should I say, upgraded from WAJU, because we also keep on insisting that we need to be holistic in the way we look at protection issues across the country. For the past decade, when we ratified the Convention on the Rights of the Child, our situation as a country in terms of enrollments of girls in education was very low. And currently, when you come to our basic school level, we have the enrollment of girls exceeding boys. We are still trying to ensure that the enrollment of girls will increase in the secondary and as well as tertiary level. And now we are also promoting the should I use the word, not the word I should use it, the penetration of girls into the male-dominated professions, because it's not an easy task for girls to go into areas that are male-dominated because of the discrimination they face, even structures that exist. Because even sometimes when you go to some of our old ministries, you go, the structures that exist for the washroom, you could see that it was male bias. A female doesn't have any place there to feel comfortable to do your business. So it is with our technical institutions and our vocational institutions. They are male bias, and even how these courses are taught in the schools are very, very, not female friendly. And so for the past 2 years, if you are following what is happening in TVET, you will see that a lot of effort is going into the system to ensure that TVET is girl-friendly. Girls appreciate the other things they can do, and then also it opens more avenue for them to be able to sell their economic powers in the future. And I must say, there's a lot more we are hoping to do. We are still reviewing our laws. We are still working on our policies, and we are still extending the work that we do with NGOs and development partners. And we are looking forward to a more holistic approach to the way we do things. And for the past 2 years, that's what we've been doing. And that's why in this room you see government agencies and then other development partners. We all have one plan we are following. We all have one objective we are all ensuring that we are doing together. So because of that, everybody knows what this person is contributing towards how we are developing our children. And we are hoping that this relationship will continue to be built up and we'll do more better things for our children. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Florence, wait. Shall we give it up for her again? Thank you so much, Florence. And again, when we hear from our speakers, they all talk about working together. We heard from Abraham Asari, acting General Manager for Media General News. He reiterated the fact that we need to work together. We heard from World Vision Director. He also mentioned the same thing. And then we're hearing from her again, who's also saying that we need to work together to ensure that we get the results we want. And we won't want to work in isolation. Earlier on, I did acknowledge some partners and agencies who were working with World Vision, Media General, and other stakeholders to ensure that the children here in Ghana are protected. So I would also want to acknowledge Bright Appiah. He is with Child Rights International and he's Executive Director. Hello, Bright. Welcome. And we can't talk about children without involving children. So amongst us, we have some wonderful children here who are with us, who are also parts of, they are parliamentarians, actually, in the Child Parliament. So hello, everybody. If you're a child here and you're a parliamentarian, or you're even part of this program, say hello to us. Hello. Okay, so, and again, I mentioned that we do have a young lady here who is doing a lot of work. She tells me her job as an ambassador is not easy at all. So let's clap for her. She will join us shortly to speak to us. She'll tell us some work that she's doing in relation to teenage pregnancy. It's sad that in some parts of our country, there are girls her age who are married off. Some were even pregnant. They don't see the light. They have no hope or future to forge ahead and live their lives and live it to the fullest potential. I know she's done some work with the Akotoshi Children's Club at Ghana West. They did that sometime in March 2017. But she's still doing a lot more work in relation to that sector. So let's welcome young ambassador Abigail Ade, who is a World Vision Young Ambassador. Oh, you can do a lot more better. She says it's not easy being an ambassador.
Good afternoon, ladies and gentlemen, viewers and then colleagues here. My name is Abigail Esi Ede, as introduced earlier, a proud student of Odogono Senior High School and a young leader for World Vision, trying to fight against child marriage. We'd like to firstly talk about what child marriage is. And then we learned child marriage occurs when one or both spouses are below the age of 18. It includes any marriage which occurs without the full and free consent of one or both parties. Child marriage denies the victims their rights to health, protection, and education, and perpetuates a vicious cycle of poverty. The practice places children, especially girls, at an increased risk of sexual, physical, and psychological violence throughout their lives. The 1992 Constitution of the Republic of Ghana and the Children's Act 1998, Act 560, both defines a child as a person below the age of 18. The Constitution and the Act prohibit marriage for anyone younger than 18. Contravention of this law is punishable by a fine up to 5 million cedis or a prison term up to 1 year or both. However, there is a challenge with the legal enforcement of this law. We would like to appeal for action by some relevant stakeholders, and the first one is an appeal to the government of Ghana. First one is to strengthen formal prevention and protection of children through the enforcement of law and policies linked to child marriage. Under it is to amend the Criminal Offences Act 1960, Act 29, Section 14A, to increase the age of consensual sex, which is 16, to be consistent with the legal age of marriage at 18. Under it again is to commit adequate financial resource to implement the National Strategic Framework to End Child Marriage in Ghana from 2017 to 2026. The next one under it is to strengthen government child protection agencies to scale up services to prevent, protect, and promote the rights of children. The next appeal is to faith leaders, traditional leaders, NGOs, the media, and children as well. The first one is to reinforce informal prevention mechanisms by promoting awareness and changes in community attitudes and harmful practices, and further empower youth as issue ambassadors and child marriage preventers. Under it is to promote the resilience and voice of children through child empowerment and participation programs. The next one is to strengthen national and regional houses of chiefs, children. The next one is to strengthen national and regional houses of chiefs, traditional councils, and religious leaders with adequate capacity to reform and abolish harmful traditional practices. Again, is to build community awareness of existing child marriage laws and formal prevention mechanisms and the negative effects of child marriage. The next one is also to promote community change conversations to raise awareness of harmful practices for community action and engagement with local governments on child protection issues. Again, is to collaborate with the Ministry of Health to help reduce adolescent pregnancy through improved provision of adolescent sexual and reproductive health education and services. Again, is to collaborate with the Ministry of Education to improve retention of girls in school through gender-friendly school environment and provision of scholarships for female students, to help empower student committees to advocate for and take action to prevent child marriage. The last on my list is to collaborate with the Department of Social Welfare to increase opportunities for self-reliance of girls by improving their access to vocational and life skills training opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Abigail. I'm sure we've learned something new from Abigail, the young ambassador. But I mentioned that she's done some work with her colleagues and teammates. So this is the outcome of the work. That's the research work they did in the Ghan West municipality. Shall we congratulate her for the work done? So I introduced the young parliamentarians, and we saw them. But we also have an older parliamentarian amongst us. And she's in the person of Honorable Ayamba Ladi Ayi. She's also a ranking member, Gender and Children Committee. You're welcome. So we will be watching another documentary shortly. I keep reiterating that we're here because of children and their protection is of importance to us. So it's titled Rescue the Perishing.
In a state of 3 years, the Kerry Junior High School recorded 15 teenage pregnancy cases, with 2 girls being dominant. The formation of a kids club by World Vision this year to educate peers and parents on child protection issues in their communities then became necessary.
You say no to sex, no matter how you are going through. When your parents are not even giving you money, doesn't say you should what? Go and have sex so that you can get money.
Head teacher of the school, who confirmed the trend, said no case has been recorded this year since the implementation of the Kids Club.
2018-2019 academic year alone, we recorded 7 girls pregnant in the school. Out of the 7, 2 after delivering they came back, but the 5 they have totally stopped coming to the school.
The school has also put in place mechanism to enroll the teenage mothers in school. Meet 15-year-old breastfeeding mother Evelyn. She was impregnated by another student after she claimed to have begged for favor from him to meet her educational needs.
My papa ni mami too kwai. Na mi pesika bi. Na mi dia ko to my school fees. Na ye exams so do. Nti mi pesika na ma yede na ma timi atwa exams. Na menya. Na akola we papa mami. O mami na osi opemi. Mesumedwen say onipa na abo no. Maybe one penya manu na as akofa semaba. Nti me pene mami ne dai. Na I am my boyfriend.
Evelyn said she has regretted the act and wants to go back to school.
Nanka ye na yeko form 3 by Awona Mama Kachi.
Evelyn's parents say they will take the baby and support her to go back, but would not push her into marriage. However, in many instances, the pregnant teenage girls are forced into marriage. Like Evelyn, several teenage students depend on their boyfriends for a living, and sex becomes their reward.
That woman on Timmy show.
So, isn't Miss Untale with Minton?
Bueno, otus Untale, the man.
This is an mamma Miss Mammy, you know, Bimu. So, mamma, so Omukase, Omude, ya no mamma, no Becase. So, Manco, ya na a dress almost our and Yanni Mammy, or no, and as he say, Intina Bimuko koi.
So, for the first time, the Kids Club engaged their parents in a town hall meeting.
You come her. Yaw fono. Sika niha. Oberi mavin so base. Jessica. Ono so beji. Na be manu so. Obe fosino. Na onu so ada. Enti eno enema.
At the end of the meeting, the parents resolved to put together bylaws that intend to bite hard at families that will record teenage pregnancy.
Yabambodo no crony na shia na ya de sambra na nka yesusu na ya de aba obi kwashi obi banyinsa ya na ya wo fine bia ya de ba mano de
Nkwanta World Vision Cluster Manager Salome Yeboah is confident the necessary impact would be achieved with the Kids Club.
The committee have citizen voice and action that is there. We also have been able to establish the Community Child Protection Committee that will really ensure that they also come up with their bylaws to help eradicate teenage pregnancy in their community.
Nkwanta South municipal authorities are concerned of making an impact too.
Some of the community members think that bringing their issues to social welfare is like a taboo. And so we thought it wise that if their own people can be in charge of the resolution or fixing of those challenges for them, it will be fine.
Kerry and its adjoining communities would require conscious efforts to protect the children.
You're welcome back. And if you just joined us, you're watching the Media General and World Vision Forum on child protection. Some few seconds ago, we watched a documentary on teenage pregnancy and efforts that are being put in place to help keep such incidences from happening. And I was talking about Abigail's research. She's a young ambassador with World Vision, and in that research, which was done or conducted in the Ghanwest municipality, out of 100 respondents in 3 communities there that were interviewed, 63 of the respondents indicated that most teenage girls who got pregnant were in school, while the remaining 73 people indicated that the teenage girls who got pregnant were out of school. Now, also in that research, they found out, and this is something most of us are aware of, that the cross-theme causes of teenage pregnancy were 1, poverty, peer pressure, lack of education, broken homes, curiosity, as well as single parenting. And in Evelyn's story that we saw in the documentary, we're sure that if we all play our roles and contribute to ending teenage pregnancy, we won't have situations like Evelyn's, and something can be done about it. And in telling us what they're also doing in relation to that, let's welcome Gregory Derry. He's the Child Protection and Advocacy Manager with World Vision. Let's welcome him.
Thank you. Good evening, ladies and gentlemen. I'm sure the previous speakers have said a lot, and I'm just going to take a different tangent. We are all aware that in Ghana, the prevalence of child marriage is 21%, according to the Ghana Demographic Health Survey 2014. We are also aware that the drivers of child marriage include poverty, includes teenage pregnancy, which is a cause and effect. We are told in a research by World Vision and the University of Ghana in 2016 that child marriage is more of a rural phenomenon. You have more girls in rural areas who are into child marriage than girls in the urban communities. We are also told that more girls from non-literate families have a high propensity of getting married than girls from literate families. So this just gives us a kind of background to begin to think about. My business this evening is to talk about the economic impact of child marriage. It is not an area that many people often would delve into. But for me, I think it is very important for us to build a business case. Why should government and key stakeholders invest in ending child marriage? Ending child marriage by 2030 is a target under the Sustainable Development Goals. Ghana, we are aware we have a framework that is supposed to help all of us program and implement interventions to end child marriage by 2036. We are also aware that the machinery that is supposed to drive this agenda is not very well resourced. The investment in fighting or combating child marriage is not proportional to the problem. Ladies and gentlemen, as I mentioned, my business here is to make a business case to help convince government and all high-profile people here, including Honorable, that as they review the budget that has been presented in Parliament, they will rethink about how to end child marriage. Ladies and gentlemen, my discussion here is going to be centered on a research that was done by the World Bank in 2017. The research covered 25 countries, many of whom are African countries: Burkina Faso, Niger, Nigeria, Mali. These are countries that are supposed to be high prevalent countries, but the characteristics are not far different from what we have here. The research focused on fertility and population growth, health, nutrition and violence, education, attainment and learning, participation in labor force and type of work, and participation, decision-making, and investment. What were the key findings? Child marriage is said to have a large impact on both the likelihood that girls will have a child before turning 18 and on how many children they will have in their lifetime. So you can imagine if a girl begins to have children at the age of 13, and if every 2 years that girl will have a child, how many children will she have by the time she turns 26? What will be the impact on that if we have many of such girls giving birth on the population of this country? And what will be the effect on resources? Will we have equitable distribution of resources to cater for the needs of all these children? Women who marry early are likely to begin having children early and may continue having children for longer, resulting in higher overall fertility. Many child brides, we are aware, don't have bargaining power. They don't determine when they begin to have children and how to even cater for these children. And often, the expectation of the community is for these brides within the first 2 years to produce a male child. You don't have an option. If you produce a female, it's another trouble for you. The family expectation is to have a male child. Marrying at 13 rather than 18 or later increases the number of children a woman will have by an average of 26%. So if you were to have 2 children, then you add another 2, it means you have 4. I'm not even talking about the 0.6. If we round it off, that would be 3, so you have 5. Okay. And this increases fertility. So the research also indicated that when girls or women marry early, it increases their fertility by 11%. And fertility has a positive correlation with population growth. Ending child marriage and reducing fertility should be paired with investment in education, employment, as well as shifting social norms for the benefit of women in particular. Ladies and gentlemen, an estimate of 84% of early childbirths are children born to mothers younger than 18. And this should be a cause to worry about. 84% children born to mothers below the age of 18. And I'm sure our medical reports or records also show that many of children born to mothers below 18 or below 15 usually will suffer malnutrition, low birth rate, stunting, and so many other things that may even result in deaths. Ending child marriage and education. I want us to look at that. The research shows that child marriage reduces secondary school completion by between 4 to 6%. Because many girls would have dropped out from the basic level. They are not able to even get to the secondary level. The research also informs us that every additional year of secondary school reduces the likelihood of child marriage by 6%. This is where, if you permit me to say that the free SHS is of essence. It is a tool that we can use if properly implemented to end child marriage in Ghana. Assuming that in every community, girls will be given the free space to attend school. Girls will be motivated and supported to attend school. Child brides are much more likely to complete fewer years of education than their peers. Okay. When we were in Agogloshi last week, I took some time off to talk to a few girls because there were so many of them around. What are you doing here? They have come to sell yam. Are you students? Yes, we cannot pay our fees, so we have come to look for money to go back. Okay, these girls are often abused multiple times. Because where do they sleep? They are sleeping by the roadside, they are sleeping in the kiosks, they are sleeping in unsafe places. And you have a lot of bad guys around. The younger that girls marry, the stronger the negative effect on educational attainment. Once you marry, forget about education. You are not going back to school. Lower educational attainment has implications for girls' ability to enter the labor market. Any job you are looking for, they are asking for what? Qualification, skills, minimum qualification, first degree, HND. But here's the case, most of these girls have dropped. They didn't even make it to the secondary school. So how do they acquire such certificates to also be employed to earn higher income? So that obviously will affect their earnings. So lower educational attainment also affect the quality of formal workforce. As we are here, I believe we have come from different places by virtue of the fact that we have gone through formal education. But if attention is not paid, attention is not given to the education of girls, a time will come when we will look for skilled manpower we will not find, because we have actually relegated that kind of responsibility of ensuring that girls have the opportunity to go to school. And if we look at Ghana's population, the proportion of female to male, you have more female than male. So what will we be doing to ourselves if we are not ensuring that all are provided for equally? Increased childbearing and greater caretaking responsibility may also affect the type of job or work. Will you stay at home and take care of children, or will you be looking for a job that will be paying? So this also affects women's decision in terms of what type of work they want to do, and it affects their earnings. Frequent interruptions to employment due to childbirth. You get an opportunity, but also you have to respond to nature. You have to go through motherhood. What do? Do you leave the job because you have to go through that process? And I'm sure we have laws, policies, and systems to take care of that, just that they are also abused sometimes. Child marriage can also curb women's agency and limit their bargaining power in the household. I don't know whether it was one of these videos, but there's this video where you just see the dominance of the man at home. The woman has no say, particularly where it's a child. You just take instructions. There's no even conversation between the man and the wife. No, it's just instructions. Do this, do that, do that. I don't know whether that is what marriage is about. Issuing instructions. Okay. So the economic impact of child marriage on the earnings of a child bride is 9%. And on average, globally, on all forms of work, is 1%. So if we want to improve the lot for the girl child, we need to work assiduously to eliminate child marriage. Child marriage also lowers, child marriage may lower modern contraceptive use, because many of these children are not exposed to opportunities where they can get counseling from health facilities. Okay, so they will do what they know, and that is usually what will get them pregnant. If you listen to Abigail and then her research, it tells you that many girls in the Akotosi area get pregnant because they do not have adequate knowledge on reproductive health rights. Poorer mental health and well-being as a result of child marriage. Lower decision-making ability and lower household food security. This is very troubling. Once there's food security issue, then there will be issues of malnutrition. Okay, and the consequences of malnutrition we all know. Economic costs of child marriage may be smaller, but impact can be very significant for individuals and families. Permit me to give some global examples. What are the benefits of ending child marriage? I'm sure this is what government wants us to be communicating. They are tired of listening to the causes and effect of child marriage. But what will be the economic benefit if government should respond to child marriage? If we pick welfare benefits, in 2015, it was $22 billion. And it's estimated to increase to $566 billion by 2030. That is if government should intervene and commit resources to end child marriage. Benefits from reduced child mortality. In 2015, it was estimated to be $42 billion. In 2030, it will increase to $82 billion. Benefits from reduced child stunting. $9 billion in 2015 and estimated to be $16 billion by 2030. The benefits are cumulative. Because child marriage is associated with fertility, eliminating child marriage means that population will also slow down. That means that we'll have adequate resources to cater for the very poor and vulnerable ones. Of course, GDP per capita will increase. If population is not growing and all other things are held constant, it means more resources for fewer people. There will be less national expenditure on some social programs. For instance, because government has already invested on education and has been able to manage population through interventions in child marriage, there wouldn't be the need to put up more schools. The schools that are already in existence will be able to cater for the needs of people, which means that government will be saving a lot of resources. And like the Minister of Finance said, there will be more money for the pocket. Similarly, for healthcare, government wouldn't need to spend so much because already the work has been done by ending child marriage. Social security, transport, and public goods. Ladies and gentlemen, in conclusion, the economic costs of child marriage are large. The economic benefits of ending child marriage are significant. Ending child marriage will contribute to economic development and the alleviation of poverty of most vulnerable people, of most people in Ghana. And let me add by saying that if government commits resources, and if all other stakeholders should also commit equally resources to ending child marriage, we will together contribute to the attainment of 8 of the SDGs that Ghana is also contributing to globally. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Gregory. We're grateful. Now we're going to hear from our Honorable, and she's also going to tell us what Parliament, or we're going to hear from her in relation to Parliament and their role they're also playing to help in child protection in our country. So shall we welcome Honorable Ladi Ayi Ayamba. She's the MP for the Pusiga constituency and also a ranking member for Gender, Children and Social Protection.
World Vision, the media house here, that is TV3, the child parliamentarians, all protocol duly observed. Good afternoon. Let me first of all thank TV3 for persistently calling me and asking me to be here. I'm very grateful. And let me also thank them for the yeoman's job that they have been doing. I have been following them all these years. I am a victim of child marriage myself. I want to start from there to encourage every girl especially. Many people would ask, even my colleague MPs, members of parliament for that matter, might ask, how? But here I am, that is me. So, today, we are talking about child marriage. We are talking about parliament. We are talking about law. We are talking about members of parliament. But are we asking ourselves, what about our parents? Whom do you stay with? Mostly the child, the girl child. Who is more responsible for you? It's your parent, followed by your teachers, then your community, and then yourself. You have to make yourself you and not any other person. My dear ones, both boys and girls, as a ranking member for Gender, Children and Social Protection, and knowing well that gender does not mean only girls, I would only be tilting and leaning more on girls because we are considered vulnerable. Not because the boy is not vulnerable, but the level of vulnerability of the boy is much, much, much lower. My dear ones, if you look at the issue of the girl child, the parent, especially the mother, I say especially the mother, because in the first place, just take the child in perspective. Look at the mother and the father. Who is more associated to the child? I am not saying, please, that there are no fathers who are that responsible. No, but take the 100% and just look at it. It's the mother. Right from the time of birth to the time that the father would actually be coming in to support, the mother has the biggest responsibility. And that's why I believe that in taking serious care of the girl child and ensuring that the girl child is brought up as expected, giving all the opportunities, stopping the stereotyping, and what have you, would go a long way to help. Because whether the boy or the girl, the mother is the first, and for that matter, the woman, that the child recognizes and is basically almost always with. But let us look at it. Let us look at the parent today with the issues that we are talking about. You would realize that there are children whom you can easily say the child might have not seen the mother or the father in the daytime for more than 2 or 3 months in a row. That child simply wakes up and has to go to school if and only if that child is in school. Now, the child is growing. And as the child grows, it needs a lot of guidance. Early adolescence is where the problem starts mostly. So if the parents are not there, there is a problem. If there is no school, the problem becomes bigger. And the community. Because that is when we talk about halls, meeting, and all those things. And involving the community. But what about our religions? What about our culture? Have we looked at those? Some people associate the issue of child marriage with religion. But I want us to note something. There is no religion that binds the girl child such that the girl child would not go to school or the boy would not be in school. It depends on the family, on the child, the community, and what type of education that child has. And as I started, I told you, I am a victim. Among 8, I am the only girl. And being the only girl, you can imagine my mother by then, may her soul rest in peace, my father, may his soul rest in peace. That I was in school. I completed my middle school in 1977. And I was basically 16 years. Then my father says, laddie, I have no money. You can't continue. Go get married and let me have my peace. Well, we don't dowry, so I don't talk of dowry. I whip my eyes out, cry and cry and cry and cry. Then my mother says, laddie, what can we do? You have written the common entrance, you have passed. You want to go to vocational school, you got to, because that time, the form you were going to fill and to write the entrance exams was 1. Those of you who know that time. And you've gotten training college, but I don't have the money. So what do you want me to do? I said, this one, I can't take it. I have suffered too much. I had walked barefoot to school. I had no uniform. I have struggled. I have sold things, supported people to go to school. 10 good years. You are telling me to go and marry? My mother says, come and sleep. Then I went to her and she said, laddie, you know what? I said, mother, no. Tomorrow morning, go and tell your father that he should support you to go to school and that anytime you vacate, you will go to your husband's house so that you can have the opportunity of going to school. This is a life story, and that is the person here. The following morning, I got up, went and greeted my father. And I told him, this is it. And he said, wow, this is why I asked you to go to school. Yes, you are really wise. You have really taught me you've been to school. Come on, go and bring my box. Bring my suitcase. Those days, it was these chop boxes that were painted. I went and brought it. He brought out his soap, brought out his pesewas and what have you. He said, go to school. I ran faster than lightning to my mother. And I almost knocked her down. Told her, this is it. And I can assure you the kind of things that that woman did for me to go to college. God being so good, and God forgive me, the man whom my father thought I should be married to passed before even I could come from holidays. Thank you very much. Now, I had been a little girl of determination. I had been determined. I grew among men. When people tell me that you behave like a man, it's funny to me. I've never lived with any woman or any girl apart from my mother. So I actually am amongst them. I fight them. They beat me. They do all sorts of things. And so I have grown as such. After completion of training college, I started supporting. My father could see that if this girl had not gone to school, where would I have been? If this girl had gone. Meanwhile, the mother, who actually did all these things and sacrificed, passed earlier than him. What am I telling you? I am simply telling you to understand that the parent plays a very significant and important role. If you don't guide the child, as for that one, school alone cannot guide. Before even peer influence, in those days, and even in some of the families today, they choose friends for their children. How many of us do it? Let us preach that. You do not know where your child has gone to. Let us take the Upper East, Pusga for that matter, where I am coming from. As at 11 p.m., you can see children of school going age still in the market area. Looking for what? Where is the child's mother? Where is his or her father? For that matter, where are the parents? We have a lot to do. Look, the laws are there. As for the laws, they are there. But who implements the laws? It's you and me. If the law is being implemented and you not listen or you not adhere, how many people can go to prison or how many people can pay or not pay and what have you? We need to be very conscious and careful. Let us, World Vision, I appreciate TV Africa, I appreciate, please, let us continue with the advocacy on parents to be what? Responsible. Then we get to the other level on talking about education. I'm happy she has known me so much. And I want to say that the girl child today, basically, if you take 100%, about 95% will go to school right from class 1. But statistics, and being on the education committee myself, and an interested person, has shown that by the time the child gets to class 4, then the numbers begin dropping, because that is when the child can support the mother in the market, can go to buy A, B, or C, and what have you. We should be able to sit on teachers and parents to ensure that any child who is enrolled does not leave school, does not just go and we do not know where that child is. So the attrition rate of the girl child is very, very high when actually you have those good numbers. The other issue I have is about, we spoke about pads for the girl child, and we saw the Nkwanta girls who have to sell eggs to even buy pad on credit and pay later on. I think, I don't want to go political. There was that issue of pads being included in packages for the girl child. Why do we put it away and go to bring condom? Condom is I want to do it. It's not a need. Pad is a need. It's not a want. It's a need. It's natural. The girl child simply needs pads. And that pad could have led that girl to go and sleep with somebody, not necessarily the school fees. Because it's one of the demoralizing things that can pull the girl child down, can let the child not to go to school. Unfortunately, we need to ensure and make sure that some of these things are brought back. Free SHS, perfect, good, excellent. Everybody wants free SHS. I went to school and completed and never paid fees from Form 1, from Class 1 to Form 4. But then, the population is growing and the free SHS is allowing everybody to be in school. And all the girls will go to school, and a girl in Pusga can easily be sent to Accra to attend a day school as a day when that child does not know anybody in Accra. So let us streamline these things. Let us look at these issues. Let us correct them. Let us give the girl child especially that priority of saying that, look, this hostel here is for the girl child. That girl who is coming. And I think it will go a long way to promote us. I want to say there isn't enough time. We are so many speakers. But then, can we help? Can we ensure that what we are doing here today is promoted to places like Pusiga, especially because of female genital mutilation, which is rife in that place. because it's one of the horrible things that anybody can think of. So let us talk about that. Teenage pregnancy, very high. Very, very high because of poverty. Let us make sure that although World Vision has been around Boko, Pusga is a new district, not that old. The constituency itself is not that old. And I am fighting so hard. I need you to come and help me to fight and to fight the men. So that, oh yes, I've always had men. My first term of contesting, it was 3 men against me. God said, no, laddie, you go. The second time, they said, oh, only 1 man. Then he came. I said, oh, as for you, forget. Then the third one is a man, and I've won my primaries again. So come and let us fight for the girl child. Because when the girl is given the opportunity, she would perform better. Child parliamentarians, I wish you the best. I pray that all of you, one day, you come and sit in that parliament, and then you say, there was once a woman, and this is what she said. I love you all, and take care. World Vision, best of luck.
I'm sure we can close and go home, because we've heard it all. And we're grateful to you, Honorable Laddie, for sharing your experience with us. And for the young parliamentarians, you heard what she said. You can be what you want to be. You can always achieve. And, Honorable, you can trust media to report you. And one thing she said that excited me the most was the bit about menstrual hygiene, because I do a lot of work in that area. And we need to pay attention to that so we don't have a lot of girls getting pregnant. And she's also set the tone for us to have a panel discussion. She stressed on the importance of parents and the role parents should play. But before we start, I would need you to think about your answers. My young ambassador, Abigail, I'm sure you are ready to fire your points, right? Okay, so but we'll watch a short video and then we'll start with our discussion.
You say I am not a girl. You say I can't go to school like my brothers. You insist the kitchen should be my classroom. You feel I don't deserve a fulfilled future. I am not an object to please a man's sexual desires. When you look at me, you only see a young bride who should depend totally on another man for my upkeep. I am not a commodity to be bought with a price. I am not an object to please a man's sexual desires. I have a purpose in life, a role to play in my family, a duty to perform in my community, a child to become a role model, a reason to advocate for the girl child. It takes you and me to end child marriage.
And indeed, that's what we've been talking about here. We all have a role to play to end child marriage. Does anyone think otherwise here? Hello? Great. So before we talk about our parents and even start our discussions, I'm sure some individuals here have some questions on their minds. So if you're ready, you can just give me your hand and then we'll start the conversation. Or if you have a statement to make in that light, you can just show back. Okay, so we have a young parliamentarian. I told you, they are working. Give them a round of applause. They are working, they're working. So we have 2 of them actually. We'll start with them. There's a third person here. Okay, no, Jason, I am instructing you to take it to the young parliamentarian. Please, do them that honor. So you can introduce yourself.
My name is Zakaria Habiba from the Northern Region and a part of the International Child Parliament. I want to tell my fellow students and the higher people, those in high position, that if a child who a teenage mother who has given birth should be sent back to school or not be stigmatized by the her peers and by teachers, should not be used as an example in topics concerning child marriage and teenage pregnancy. They should be sent back to school and then fulfill the promise they have to make.
Thank you.
I am Yakub Abdul Momin from Northern Region and a member from the National Parliament. I want to ask our mother, the MP. She said that government has introduced free senior high school, and we know that the recent computerized placement places students anyhow. Like they can pick students from the rural areas and send them to the urban areas. And I want to ask, even though the free senior high school is good, is it not like when they pick the students from the rural areas and send them to the urban areas, they don't know anybody? And is it not risking their lives because they don't have, like, they can send them without being without them being in their boarding student. Being a boarding student. So they are expected to be day students, and since they don't know anybody, whose house are they going to be staying in? So that's my worry, and I want to ask.
Thank you very much. So you had a young parliamentarian and his concerns. Jason, before you send it there, can we get a response from her? If any other person has a comment to make that, and then we can move to the third person.
Thank you very much. Just as I mentioned, if you listened carefully, you would have heard me say free senior high school is good. We've all benefited from it. But the greatest problem is placement issues, where a child may be from Pusiga, and Pusiga is further than Tamale or any of the northern regional areas, sent to Accra, and then is put as a day student. It's definitely very difficult. And so there are issues in connection with the free SHS, but that does not make it not being good. It needs to be addressed. For instance, those who are in charge of placement should be able to take note of schools from those distances and not place them in schools that are at places that the children will be at risk, as you have stated. So I think that is the best way we can handle it.
Thank you. Whoa. Okay. That's interesting. The third, yes, the gentleman. You can sit.
Thank you very much for the opportunity. And Honorable, thank you for the clarity with which you use your life experience to clarify some of our thoughts. I had always felt that the problem of child protection is deteriorating probably because of a seeming deficit in parental care. I believe that as a responsibility of a parent, you must be ready to make some sacrifices. Even apart from the physical sacrifice, where you can sacrifice your food or your physical comfort, you can also make some sacrifice, which I called emotional sacrifices. You even train yourself to restrain from acting and doing certain things because you realize that those actions and behaviors will give negative values to your children. The parents can do a lot, and I support the Honorable's message in that regard. Thank you very much.
Thank you. You forgot to introduce yourself.
My name is Jerome Kanyok. I'm a police officer, Chief Superintendent.
Thank you, Chief Superintendent. Now, before we continue, so my young parliamentarians, a lot of patience will do. Let's just build up on what he said and go back to our panelists here and ask them, parents, it seems most of the time we focus on government, we focus on parliamentarians, we focus on agencies, and we leave out the parents knowing that they are the ones who bring these children into the world. They produce the girls. So they should be responsible. So, first of all, would you want to start, Abigail? Okay. So let's hear from Abigail. I know you've also done a lot of work. Do you think that parents have failed in ensuring that the child is protected?
Okay, we can't jump at once and say maybe our parents have failed in bringing up or in bringing us up well. Because some cases at my area where we had a research made us understand that it's just the financial difficulty in the home that also pushes them, though they also have to sacrifice, or as we are on be told that they should also try sacrifice so that we don't push us into child marriage. But the financial difficulty that is maybe they don't even have what it takes to take care of you sometimes pushes them to send you away into marriage. But they have been educated, and then in my area, for example, they've promised, and then it has been reduced, and we've not recorded any case yet. But anyway, I don't even know. But in my area, they've been educated, and then
so it means that you're doing a lot of work.
Yes.
All right. So shall we appreciate Abigail and her team for contributing? But Abigail, financial difficulty is not just though. Else you wouldn't be an ambassador doing a lot of work. So it's an issue. All right, so we'll move on to the next person.
And just to buttress Abigail's point, I think she just sort of confirmed Honorable's word that parents need to be more responsible. Because if with sensitization you can't change your attitude, it's a matter of just putting priority on your children's training and their education. In most cases, you go and there's a little problem, parents are pushing girls especially to go into relationship for some material gain they think can bring to the family. And at the end of the day, they end up spending so much to curb the problem that the child will bring back as a result of the small thing they gain from that experience the girl was pushed to have had with an older person. So it's more of people counting the cost of the behaviors they are putting their girls through, and knowing that a marriage today that doesn't last will mean that you have grandchildren that you have to take care of when you are old. So being free to even eat only your kenke and sleep peacefully, you now have grandchildren who now you have to take care of, because sometimes your child will not even stay to assist you, and you'll be left alone to be carrying this burden. But if you are just taking the time and the girl completes school, then you have a girl who has skills to help these children that are to come in the future, and also support you yourself in your old age. So it's counting the cost and knowing that a behavior now that you think you have 2 cedis will cost you 200,000 in future. And parents just supposed to be parents, not to be the benefit of children's work. That's what we need to understand now.
Thank you so much, Florence. Gregory. And next, I'll be handing over the microphone as well to Bright and then Awo to also make their comments on that.
Yes, so on my part, I believe that when you value something, it's often difficult to part with. So if parents value children, if they love and care for their children, I believe most parents who find themselves in such difficulties will not be doing it. Okay, but I also do know some parents deliberately, like in Abigail's research with her colleagues, parents entice their children into exploitation, into having affairs with grown-up men, which led them into getting pregnant. And we do know once you get pregnant, the next thing is to marry. That arrangement will be made. So I believe that if parents should really look at how they nurture children, give their children the love and care that they deserve, I'm sure these children will grow up more resilient, knowing in their environment that, oh, yes, these guys will come, they will lure them with the 2 cedi, 5 cedi, but knowing where they come from, they'll be able to resist. And I believe that will help solve a lot of these issues that are in the system. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much. And shortly, I'm sure we'll hear from Awo. She's also done a lot of work on children protection. She's always knocking at our doors when it comes to and bombarding us with messages on online safety and children protection. And Awo, you work a lot with parents as well. Now, aside the fact that governments and a lot of other stakeholders have a role to play, again, the question is, have our parents failed us?
Yeah, I wouldn't say they failed us, but I would say they are not equipped enough to do what they've got to do. We are observing UNCRC at 30. I don't know how much provision we have made as far as the protection of children is concerned. So if you want a parent to play his or her role effectively, it's important we equip the parents. And we can't focus or overemphasize protection without talking about provision. So I feel that both online and offline, it's important we make the necessary provision for parents, for the child, so they will be able to participate effectively and have some of these issues addressed, just like the parliamentarians are telling us, the young parliamentarians, I mean. They have issues. But to what extent are they involved at the local level decision-making, such that they make those inputs or findings into bigger frame of decisions? So I don't think parents alone have failed us. We have failed ourselves, and we have failed the children. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Awo. Now, we are wrapping up shortly, but before we go, I mentioned that there are two individuals here who have also contributed their quota. They've done a lot when it comes to child protection. They've also worked with World Vision. Dr. Joe Riverson will speak to us and also wrap it up with closing remarks. But before he speaks, let's hear Mr. Samuel Asare, your take on the conversation.
Thank you. And I'm really excited and pleased that World Vision is giving us the opportunity to share with all of you our experiences and also ensure that we get well educated to go back to into our various communities to serve the people. I would like to say that from what I've heard, from the experience I've had, and from what I've heard from the MP, we have all become ambassadors. And that's, after this meeting or this forum, has given us an opportunity to go back as ambassadors. Somebody who have had the opportunity to serve with an international relief, development and advocacy organization, Christian organization, like World Vision. Wherever I go, I'm looked upon as somebody who have gained a lot of experience, especially regarding child-focused activities, and therefore child protection. And this is a fine opportunity for me to confirm that wherever you go, those of us who are here, we are ambassadors, and that we should seize the opportunity to educate people with whom we interact in our churches, in our communities, at public forum like this, and educate people. It's been a very exciting experience, and I think that I'm going back more equipped to help friends, parents, and the public. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Mr. Asare. Now, Doctor.
Thank you very much. I remember that when I joined World Vision in 1984, I joined as the National Health Coordinator. I was employed as a doctor in World Vision to care for the health and nutrition and the well-being of the children we were looking after in the communities. So I remember I used to travel with my public health nurses and the nutrition technical officers. I used to drive them myself. We used to have a Land Rover ambulance. And I used to drive, we've traveled to many villages all over the country. And I am glad that at least the protection that we gave children in terms of protecting their health and nutrition and their well-being, we've now come to the stage of having somebody like our young ambassador doing research and finding out, you know, what it is that is keeping young women away from becoming what God wants them to be. I was very, very impressed by our parliamentarian. I shook her hand when she was coming. I said, that was excellent. I mean, to talk to us from her own personal experience. And also the question that one of the young people posed about the placement of children after the after the free SHS. I think there's need to review the computer placement system and make sure that children who have passed and are doing well in their community are placed in schools where they are, you know, they have relatives and where they will be conversant with the conditions and so on. I'm so very happy to see World Vision. We have come so far, you know, in reaching the stage, and we thank God. We thank God. Thank you.
Thank you very much, Dr. Joe Brew-Riverson. And he said it all for us. If you just joined us on television, we've been spending some hours here discussing, and it's a forum, Media General and World Vision Forum on child protection. As we wrap up, let's remember that it shouldn't hurt to be a child. And like our act says, which was on children's protection, the best interest of the child should be paramount in any matter concerning the child. So let's pay attention to that. Thank you so much for joining us here at the Executive Theatre, and those who watched as well on television. We're grateful for your time, and I'm sure there'll be more coming from Media General and World Vision. Thank you so much. God bless us, and God bless our homeland, Ghana. I'm Wendy Lai. Thank you.